At ease, brother Shalom. Today I want to talk about why you should stop playing the character the world wants you to play and be what the Most High Yah has called you to be. Let's talk about it.
Don't be a gangster if you're not a gangster. Don't be hood if you're not hood. If you from the suburbs, nigga, you from the suburbs. So fucking what? You look good, you dress good, you smell good, you're living good. That's what's good. Trying to be something that you're not, I wish I didn't have to do some of the shit I did. I wished it. So you want to do some of the shit I did just so you can feel like you me? Nigga, calm y'all little ass down. Sit down, nigga. Write a educational rap. And I ain't talking about educational rap like a smart rap. I'm talking about a rap that means something. Don't sip serve because I was sipping serve. Don't snort cocaine because I was snorting cocaine. Don't pop a pill because I was popping a pill. That's my life.
Yeah.
What's yours?
All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another righteous Ruach Spirit-filled episode. Today I'm back at it in them trenches, handling that kingdom business. You know, man, it wasn't until I moved in with my mama in 8th grade where I moved to an urban environment. And prior to that, man, I was living with my grandparents, you know, who had raised me the majority of my life. And in nice suburb areas, you didn't have to worry about nobody really roasting you, joning you, clowning you, or nothing like that. That wasn't those kids' focus. You know, those kids were focused on, all right, let me get my grades. Let's have fun. Let me focus in life. You know, because, man, these were children that really didn't have a stressor in their life, you know, any kind of needs that weren't being met in their life. And I was a part of that, you know, until, man, I moved in with my mama. You know, man, it wasn't until I moved in with my mama, who is on Section 8, you know, Hoskin Mills, you know, off of Brookshire Boulevard in Charlotte, North Carolina. Anybody from North Carolina, anybody from Charlotte specifically, you know about Wilkinson Boulevard, you know, Brookshire Boulevard, Beatty's Ford Boulevard. You know, man, lived in Section 8 housing with my mama. Man, and that's where I got introduced to, you know, pretty much a lot of young men living in a character that's not really them. And this character is created by the environment. Some people would call it a persona. But you got to understand, man, when you go in these places, when you see young men today that aren't raised to be hood, that aren't raised to be thugs, we got to talk about this spiritual pull that causes young men to be raised in good upbringing, in good homes, but yet they want to gravitate to being the lowest functioning form of a man, a thug, a hoodlum, a tyrant, you know, a straight up heathen, a lowlife, a deadbeat. You know, and it seems like, man, in my community, man, that spirit is real strong because, man, if you're a young black male, and let's just say, man, you're in high school. I'm gonna use high school as an example. And you're not saying, man, you want to be in the NFL, you want to be in the NBA, you want to be a rapper, you want to be a dope boy, or something like that. Man, my community, man, they will shame you. Man, they'll roast you. Man, what you mean you want to be a lawyer? What you mean you want to be a plumber? What do you mean you want to be an orthodontist? You nerd, cornball, lame. And this is where a lot of men, you know, especially in my community, everybody's community Everybody's race, nationality, background is different. But man, in my community, man, that's the character that men feel like they got to play. Men feel like, man, they got to flex. They got to be a baller. You know, you riding around with rims on your car that you can't see while you're driving, but man, you're in flexing culture. You know, the mentality of flexing on those in poverty. And today I want to tell you, man, stop playing the character the world or the environment wants you to play. Man, the creator, you know, created you with a specific purpose in life, to be set apart, to be peculiar, to be different, to not be like the world. But oftentimes in these environments, man, we choose to try to fit into the world, to be like the world, or what we think is cool, or what we think is desirable, or what everybody else wants us to be, or especially for men, whatever the women want. Like if you're a man and every day you're waking up playing a character or living in a persona just to please women, man, brother, you're so far off the path and you don't even know it. Man, you have to understand, in my community, man, this is why we dominate in entertainment. And that's by design. That's by, when you look at the Maccabean period in the Bible and who they chose to play in the Olympics, who they chose to be athletes in the Olympics. That's the reason today why, like Nike, you think about it, Nike, out of all of its, you know, sponsored athletes, man, you look at what percentage of those majority being black. But when you look at, okay, man, our community, you know, man, they'll pride you for being entertainment, for being a rapper, you know, trying to be the next, NBA young boy, trying to be the next young thug, you know, trying to be the next Soldier Boy, try to be the next Chris Brown. But just because of that mindset, man, this is why we don't have a lot of power. This is why we don't sit at a lot of tables outside of entertainment. You got to understand, man, whether it be football, NBA, music industry, outside of the entertainment, man, we don't hold any power. And this is where, you know, I tell my sons, man, don't submit to playing the character that the world wants you to play. You need to be in 100% alignment with what the Most High Yah wants you to be as a man. Man, at a baseline, the Most High Yah says in his word, in Ecclesiastes, for this is the conclusion of the matter. You know, the duty of man is to fear Yah and keep the commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Man, when you're in alignment with the will of the Most High Yah and you're not trying to fit into your environment, but you are walking in truth, you are seeking out the truth, you're Yah fearing and keeping the commandments, man, you're a light in a world, in an environment, in a community, in a neighborhood that's full of darkness. Man, I think about, man, the late Nipsey Hussle, who, man, if you read about him or you listen to, you know, people's testimony about him, man, he was always a brilliant mind. He was always a brilliant mind. But guess what? Growing up in the neighborhood that he did, man, he had to play the character that the world wanted him to play. The neighborhood wanted him to play. And he was at the part of his life where he was breaking out into business, but yet he didn't get out of the neighborhood. He got taken out in his own neighborhood. Jealousy. And man, let me tell you something. Man, there's nothing wrong with what this world, let me tell you something. According to the Most High Yah, what this world calls a square, man, there's nothing wrong with that. Man, squares, you know, wake up in the morning, go work hard, come home, spend time with their wife and children. Communities, man, that I've lived in early on in life before I joined the military and got out and saw the world, man, they wanted you to be thugs. Man, they would they would give you more advice about how to be a drug dealer, how to be a car thief, how to be a low life than actually something positive, telling you to get out of here and go make something for yourself. You know, man, you've got people in my community, young men, man, you're raised up in a 2-parent household. You know, your parents don't condone the way, you know, you're trying to live and what you're trying to represent. You want to wear these clothes that represent what the rappers do. You know, you want people to believe this persona that you're hard and you're tough, and you, like, if somebody were to walk up and slap you, you wouldn't know what to do. And I'm telling you, man, that's man, if that's what you come from, that's okay. Because what this world is selling you as far as the persona and the character that you feel you got to play, man, it ain't worth it. And you saw that in the testimony of a rapper named Crunchy Black in the clip that I played. Be yourself. Be organic. Be authentic. Man, don't let the culture, whatever culture you're in, I know mine is black culture, man, don't let black culture, man, stop you from being the greatest man you can be, the highest version of yourself. Because you got to think, man, in my community, the culture, the stuff that they promote, the stuff that makes headlines is oftentimes of low functioning character, low functioning behavior. And the people that are actually making waves, you know, actually doing something, you know, that would be not unbecoming to a people, man, they don't even make headlines. You know, in my community, like, you think about the young dude who's in his early 30s, that's the new CEO of Red Lobster. Man, that stuff doesn't stay in the news, but guess what does? You know, this rapper got pregnant. This rapper sleeping with this player. This NFL player just got with this video vixen. All kind of, like, dude, man, handle your business. And I'm telling you, you don't need their support. You know, oftentimes in my community, you think that you need their support to be everything that you're called to be. Man, you don't need it. They can't even see where you're headed. It's above their wavelength. You have to think, man, I tell my sons all the time, like, man, there's so much more. There's so much more than being in the NFL, so much more than being in the NBA. Man, back when I was a drill sergeant, man, we had a former NFL player for the Cleveland Browns come through basic training. And man, it was like big news that a former NFL player, and he was like, yeah, I was on the team, and yeah, I started, but man, I only had a 3-year career in the NFL. And he was like, leading up to it, if I would have known my NFL career would have been that short-lived, I probably would have took a different route, because outside of my name being on that roster, he was like, man, I didn't have the type of success people thought I have. And it was really a struggle, because when you're not a big name, man, you're not making a whole lot of money. So here this man is, you know, he joined the military to learn a trade, to serve his country, you know, because they're going to send him to AIT to learn a job. And he was, you know, sitting down talking to him, you know, before lights out. He was like, man, it didn't come with the success that, like, he was like, the whole train up of his life, he thought it was going to just be this success, and he made it. And he was like, it wasn't. He was like, the biggest thing he had to deal with is everybody around him, his family and whatnot, thought he was making millions because he was in the NFL. And he was like, man, you got people in the military that are making more, you know, at 10 years in the military than he was at being in the NFL. And he said, man, you can look up the tiers and salaries of players. And he was like, man, I wasn't making that much. Then you think about, you got to give some of that to your age. And he was like, man, it's not what it's cracked up to be. But he was like, man, this is what, although I'm blessed to have that opportunity, Man, if I would have focused on getting a trade or anything like that, he was like, man, I could have had my own business. I could have, when I went to college, rather than taking an easy degree that was easy to pass, he was like, man, I could have took something that would have been worthwhile. Man, stop playing the character the world wants you to play. Maybe you're letting, as a man, you're letting women control, how you present to the world, your persona or the character. You got to understand, man, when a lot of these men step in the club, shades on, jewelry, all of this, but that's not who they are. You're looking at a character, you're looking at a persona, you're looking at a entertainment personality. Man, be authentic, be genuine, and be confident in who you are. Man, if you're book intelligent, if that's your thing and you can't, there's some men that are so intellectual, intelligent, they can't have conversation with low functioning men. And you know what? Low functioning men are threatened by your intelligence, threatened that you've got the retention, the memory that you have. So what do? Rather than saying, man, good luck in your endeavors and whatever you do, what do? They roast you. And that happens in a lot of urban schools, a lot of black communities and things like that. I tell you, man, I look back some of the stuff that I was introduced to when I started living with my mama and got into them teens, 13, 14, 15, 16, 7, got into those teens, man, a lot of that stuff, if I would have continued down those paths, I could have taken on a character of this personality or this persona. But looking at where that stuff would have landed me at, bro, it wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it. And just I want you to think about this. Man, that's a rapper who's known. I'm going to say he's known, but he's not as known. To have done some of the stuff that he's possibly talking about, man, there's no fruit in it. Oftentimes, man, you think about the law of sowing and reaping, man, you reap what you sow. He's talking about the drugs, you got in some communities, if you're that squared away dude and you're not wanting to smoke weed and all of that, bro, you're lame. Hey, I don't give a damn, be lame. Be lame according to them that are foolish. You're not out here slinging all this meat for these women, having babies that you can't take care of. If men like that gotta call me lame, I'd rather be lame. I'd rather be a square or what this world calls a simp. You gotta understand, man, the Most High Yah, he created you. You gotta understand, man, the Most High Yah created you with a purpose. Created you with a purpose. And man, it's 100% up to you, and you have a choice to make every day you wake up. Are you going to walk in his will, his way? Or are you going to walk in the desires and the will of the world? Because at the end of the day, if you walk in the desires of the world, man, you're doing nothing beneficial to the kingdom. Nothing. You're going to be leading people to more darkness than you are leading people to light. And I tell you, man, for my brothers out there that like to read, that like intellectual stuff, that like deep conversation, and you don't fit into the mold, because, man, there's a lot of men fall into this sexually immoral mold because that's what they feel like they got to do to survive in this world. That's what you feel like you got to do to be seen. Man, flip being seen. Man, these people ain't helping you pay your bills. When you at that gas pump putting gas in your car, man, these people that got all these expectations and desire, man, they not helping you with that. Bro, be who you're called to be. Man, be your authentic self. You got to understand, man, I want you to think about somebody who is a lookalike. Man, the Michael Jackson movie came out not too long ago. And I want you to think, man, everywhere around the world, man, there's somebody that wakes up and says, you know what? Man, today, man, I'm going to be a Michael Jackson impersonator. Bro, when they live their whole life trying to impersonate somebody who they will never be because your birth certificate got a different name on it. No matter how cold you get at the moonwalk, man, you're just a memory of the real thing. But you ain't the real thing. Man, that's one of the craziest things to me, to wake up every day and try to be something or try to be somebody that's not focused on your salvation. Man, if you want to be anything, if you want to wake up and strive to be like somebody, man, strive to be like Hamashiach. Strive to be like the Messiah. Strive to be like Yeshua. Man, that's our perfect example. And out of you got to think, man, there's a child out there. Man, you got to think, man, there's a child out there that's saying, man, I want to be the next Kobe Bryant. I want to be the next Michael Jordan. Man, I want to be the next Young Thug. I want to be the next Master P. I want to be the next, this, the next that, the next Dwayne Wade, whatever the culture, whatever society is pushing on that particular community. Man, I would tell you to be righteous. Be what the Most High Yah called you to be. Man, don't let anybody shame you for the things that you like. Man, if you're a young man and you grew up liking rocks and learning about space and stuff like that in my community, man, that ain't cool. But bro, embrace that. Embrace that. Because that stuff is a lot safer and a lot wiser of a path for you to embark down than you being some doggone. You got to understand, bro, it's some dudes out there that call themselves the Kia boys. They just steal Kias. In every city, they go around stealing Kias and Hyundais. We the Kia boys, gang, gang. Neighborhood. Man, flip that. Flip that. I got to be America's most wanted. I got to be a criminal and a low life to get some recognition. Bro, let me tell you something. Man, the prison industrial system or complex is filled with dudes that are playing characters that the world wants them to play. And you know what? For private prisons, it's very profitable. Man, they're building a new prison somewhere right now, waiting on one of these men that's playing a character that's not who he really is to crash out and to be that crash dummy. I'm telling you, brother, don't fall into the snare. Don't take the bait. Don't let it be you. Once again, this is the Set Apart Man, kicking that thing gun barrel straight. Until next time, stay set apart, stay disciplined, stay in the word of the Most High Yahweh.